said it the other day, really excited about our team and our staff and the attitude, and it was a good spring game. We were able to get, I think, around 110 or 115 plays, somewhere in that area. We went right to the fourth quarter running clock because we had 88 in the first half. So that's a lot of plays when you think about dividing your team. Essentially, that's like having like a 90-play game. So long story short, it was really good. Offense made some plays. Running backs made some plays. Quarterback made some plays. Defense made some interceptions. You saw Ramon make a play. Peterson made a play. I think you got a chance to see a lot of speed, and it went great for me. I mean, just a chance for guys on both sides of the ball to make some plays, and I thought our attitude was good. It was good to see JW get back out there and function in his world with the style of offense we use with him. And a number of the guys that were in black jerseys, those are our, with the exception of Beach, all of our young tight ends and fullbacks and that we use, and we had to play them both ways so we could use different formations. So I couldn't be any more pleased with our team. I don't know anything about stats or any of that, but we came out of the game healthy, and so I thought it was a great day. They said we had 16,000 or something fans, which I thought was excellent for the forecast, with the chance of rain and storms. And so I thought we really appreciate the people coming out, and it ended up being a great day.
Mike, you seem to be particularly optimistic at this point in time. What's the root of that? Why do you feel so good about this team?
Well, we have a lot of young players that are back from last year, and we have some depth. And I just really like the attitude of our team. I'm pleased with the new coaches. I'm comfortable letting them coach and me stand there and watch. And we have good leadership, and I talk about that a lot. And I think sometimes fans and people overlook the importance of the leadership and the players, and it's just enjoyable for me. I enjoy being out there. I told the players the same thing that I mentioned to you guys the last few times, and I'll say it again today. I enjoy watching our players, the effort we're getting from them. I like our schemes on both sides of the ball. I like our depth. We all know that we need to stay healthy in the interior defensive tackle position. If we get some plays out of the running backs and the quarterback plays good, then you have a chance to be a pretty good football team. But overall, I just enjoy the staff. I enjoy the team, and it's fun for me to come to work every day.
Mike, how would you compare Mason now to December? With now, he's the guy now. He knows he's the starter compared to, he's just still a true freshman last year.
He's performed very well from a leadership standpoint, and he's making better decisions with the ball. He understands check downs. He's got a long ways to go, and I've said that to caution people. He's only played in 3 games. But Coach Yurcich has done a really good job with him in understanding how to distribute the ball. And we played on offense today without Shepard, without Glidden, and without Seaton. So those are guys that he will have during the season to be able to get the ball to and understand where the pressure's coming from, how many guys are in the box. And that's kind of a long answer for he's a lot further than he was when he had to play in the bowl game.
What about the way his teammates respond to him?
He's been very good. He's unselfish, and he's a hard worker, and he carries himself well. He speaks well. The players believe in him, and if he continues to work hard and lead by example, then they'll follow him. And we all know that high school, junior high, little league, high school, college, NFL, most teams go as their quarterback goes. Most teams' attitude, their temperament is as your quarterback. We're very lucky that Mason is doing a really good job in that area, and we have J.W. Walsh. I mean, they really like J.W. They respect him, and I mean, we're fortunate we have 2 guys that are not only good football players, but they're also good leaders for our football team.
You see a lot of times quarterbacks transfer when they're not the starter.
Sure.
How big of an advantage and luxury is it for you to have J.W. accepting his role and still being a big part of the team and a guy that should be able to use next fall too?
Well, if you just look at our league, the number of teams that have had to use multiple quarterbacks over the last 3 or 4 years, and it's increased considerably over the last 3 or 4 or 5 years than it has prior to that because of the style of play. And I think our defenses in our league are improving their speed and their strength. And offensive players at some point, whether we like it or not, are vulnerable. And you've got to have guys because if I think going back to Whedon, we hadn't finished a season with one quarterback, right? So we need them both, and we're fortunate. JW could have rolled out of here and probably started several places, but he loves Oklahoma State. He trusts us, and we appreciate him. And this is his home now, and he wants to be here. And at any time, he could play. You just never know anymore. So we're glad that he's here.
What do you know about your running backs now?
Rennie has played better this spring. He's accepted the challenge. He wasn't as physical over his first few years here as he needed to be. We pushed him hard through the spring. He got hit more than what we would have wanted him to, but we felt like that he needed to be in that role. He needed to get tired. He needed to get tackled. He needed to find a way to make some plays. Dez Rowan was terrific for us the last couple of years, but we don't have that. We didn't get the breakaway. We got a lot of 6 to 8 to 10-yard runs. There wasn't a lot of 25, 30, and 50-yard runs. And so Rennie and the other guys that will be carrying the ball, Raymond Taylor's had a really good spring for us, number 30. And those guys have to give us more plays when everybody's not blocked, because over 60% of the time, plays are blocked incorrect. And you have to have a guy there that's touching the ball or throwing it or catching it that can make a play.
With the return potentially of a healthy Todd Mays, do you think you can have 3 running backs kind of circulating in there in the fall?
Todd, his first 3 practices, he was lost. His next 3 practices, he improved considerably, but it's way too early to tell. Does he have the skill set, ability to make a guy miss, and did it look like he was starting to make those strides? Yes, but he had sprained his knee, and as I said last week or earlier this week, he'll be full in about another 7 days, but he should make some really good strides in fall camp, and then we need Chris Carson to come in and make some plays for us.
Your other 2 quarterbacks today, Mike?
Kolar and Cornelius, I thought they played pretty good. You know, I get to visiting out there and doing some other stuff when the game's going on, but I thought Kolar made some decent runs. One time he fired a ball out there on a screen, and it looked like a knuckleball, but I don't think he had a hand on it. Then I thought he threw a few decent balls, but he ran pretty well. And Cornelius did well. I thought he threw the ball accurate and handled the situation. Those guys have gotten quite a few reps this spring because we've played with a lot of tempo, and they understand the system. So, you know, you got to start getting them all ready.
You had some seasons, Mike, where you had really no more than maybe 3 legitimate, consistent receiving options. It seems like not only do you have more this year, it seems like you have by far the most receivers you've ever had, guys who can really make a play in a game.
I think we have 10 guys coming back that we feel like can contribute and make plays. And, you know, I'm really excited about Austin Hayes. He is off and on health-wise over the last year and a half, and he had a good spring. And, of course, Glidden wasn't even out there. Shepard wasn't even out there today. Lacey made some plays. Washington's going to make his plays. Doolittle made a catch or 2. You know, we have a number of guys out. Keenan Brown made some catches. So we've got enough players. We've got enough depth. You know, if we do a good job of handling them as a coaching staff, they ought to make some plays.
Good defense. There's no way to calculate this, but how much quicker is this team as opposed to, say, 5 years ago?
Well, we have a lot of speed. We can run on defense, and, you know, I'm not afraid to say that because we have depth for the first time in several years on that side of the ball. There's a lot of youth, and there's competition. The guys on our side on that side of the ball on defense, if they don't compete and practice and play hard, then we'll be able to put another player in. So that forces guys to play at a high tempo, and I think we can run to the ball. I think we're a fast defense, and we've challenged them to play that way this fall.
One of your position groups, Coach McIndoe's group, you've started calling them the Cowboy backs.
Sure.
The tight ends and the fullbacks. Probably make your team the most diverse as far as formations. But there's one scholarship guy that was actually recruited to play that position. The rest is kind of built. Talk about what that says.
Well, the Cowboy back for us is a tight end and a fullback, and we feel like that gives us the best chance to have success on offense, to be able to run the football consistently, use play pass, and in our drop back game, we've brought him into the fold. And we've got several guys that play that position, and in particular Seaton, who's not out there this spring, who we'll have in the fall. Those 4 guys will play that position for us, and then we'll continue to take 1 a year for that Cowboy back. And that guy will play a tight end fullback position for us. the 6'3", 6'4", 260-pound, 265-pound guy that's a hybrid position that if they come here, when we recruit them to play it, it's a really good opportunity for them if they desire to play in the NFL, if they can play on the line and in the backfield. You see that some. And so we've brought that into our offense. We've thought over the last few years that by not having that position, that fullback and that tight end, that we've struggled some running the football. And we feel like that can help us. We'll find out. I don't know if we're right or not, but that's why we've made that change.
The biggest place you had to replace defensively was that defensive tackle. It looks like Vincent Taylor made a bunch of plays today. How do you feel about the position now?
Well, Vincent and Mote and then Billy didn't play. He I don't know, cracked a bone in his finger or something, so we held him out. But those guys inside, as I mentioned earlier, they'll be relatively new players, and they have to hold their gap. We can help them some because we have some depth at the end spot. We have some guys that can stand up and rush, and some guys that have experience, and so we can do different things with them on the edge. But those guys inside have to hold their gaps, and if they hold up, you have experience and depth at backer, you have experience and depth in the secondary and at the end position.
How's Ashton Lampkin coming back, and Jamon Richards? He played a lot last year for secondary.
He's done very well. He'll have to compete. You know, he won't be able to walk right back in and be a starter on this team, and he's competing right now. But when you talk about Peterson and Ramon, and we have another young man coming in from Indiana that's started 25, 30 games or so, and then Mike Tavius is there. Darius Curry's made some plays. So there's depth at those positions, and he's one of them, and he's going to have to compete to be the starter.
Going into the senior year, how valuable is it to have Kevin Peterson back there in that defense?
Well, we all know that, in this game, in our league, it's a game of turnovers and big plays. And a lot of big plays come from play action passes, the ball being thrown way down the field in this league. And there's experience there. And he got it a couple times today. James Washington got him, and Seals got him today. And then there's times that he gets them. There's been a really good battle, and Barry asked about why it's been fun for me. Peterson and Ramon and Washington and Seals and Keenan and those wideouts and Lampkin competing all spring's been fun to watch because they're pretty good football players. And so I enjoyed watching that competition throughout the spring, and you saw it today. The first interception that Rudolph threw, I mean, that ball's thrown exactly where you want it to be thrown, and one just went up and took it from 28, period. That's the way it is. So that battle's been really good for our football team.
Has Kevin developed into the guy that you thought he would be when you recruited 4 years ago?
He's actually more developed because, Kevin was somewhat frail and turned sideways. You couldn't find him. And now he's developed and he's accepting a leadership role. And he's got a chance to play this game. If his attitude's good, he keeps working hard, he accepts coaching and competes because he can fly. When you're as fast as he is, you give him an opportunity to play at the next level. And it's all based on him. If he does all those things and keeps working hard, then he's developed into kind of what we've looked for over the last 4 years.
When you said earlier, Mikey, that most teams go as their quarterback goes.
Sure.
You were talking about attitude a lot there. But how comforting is it to go into a season knowing who your quarterback is and you have a pretty good idea how he's going to play even though he's young? And he's what you really want with the kind of offense that you want to run.
Right, that's right. It makes it easy for us, and the best thing we did last year was end up playing him at the end of the year when all the discussions whether you play him or not. But now I wish you wouldn't have because we'd had him for 4 years instead of 3. But he fits the system, what we look for. He's mobile enough to move around. He's shown some pocket presence. Got a long ways to go, but he's shown durability and toughness. He can scramble and make a play. Guys bounce off him a little bit. He's 230 pounds, so it's not like he's light back there. We felt like that he had established himself as a starter at the end of the season, and we named him the starter. And I just think it helps the organization of your team, and they have to look to somebody for leadership, and on offense, in most cases, it's going to be your quarterback.
You said you wish you hadn't have because you have him for 4, but playing him turned out to be great for you.
No doubt. No, wouldn't have changed it, but I wish I had him for 4. And if he keeps playing good, maybe he doesn't hang around for 4 anyway. So.
Zack Beach has been unselfish for you, played guard, now he's playing tight end. Let's talk about the value of that.
We had him out of position last year. I said that in the middle of the season. I told you guys that, it was frustrating. We had an injury, and we moved a couple guys around. We looked for experience. He's an experienced guy. He was soaking wet, 278. He's not big enough to play offensive line in this league. We put him in there. He fights. He gives us everything. But at times he just got whipped. So now he's back down to, I think he's 260. And, he looks better. He feels better. He's playing a position where he can dominate on the edge because he can get his hands. When you've played offensive line, you understand blocking ends are 245 to 265. He's that big. He's strong. And he understands leverage and blocking. And he's a decent receiver. He's got decent hands. And so the role that we play him in, we slip him down the middle of the field and catches a few passes or so, gets a naked in the flat over the top, some stuff on the goal line, play action. But he should be able to hold the edge and the point for us. And when we were good on offense here, we had a guy that could hold the edge and point at tight end with us. When Pettigrew was here, he could catch a pass, but he could really get the edge sealed for us. We were a better running football team. We rushed for a lot of yards when Kendall was here with Whedon and Blackman. It's because everybody had to play pass. They never had more people in the box for us to block. Well, you don't see that much in this league. People put more in the box than you can block. So he should give us a lift and help us on the edge there running the football.
Mike, being a former quarterback, how anxious do you get to see when you have a player like Rudolph that has all the potential in the world, and you have a tendency to be a little bit more anxious or less patient or more patient? How does one quarterback look at the other in this regard?
Well, I'm excited about our team, and I think everybody feels the same way I do. And I'm excited about the young guys growing. No question that our job is easier when you have a quarterback that you can trust, you feel like is gaining knowledge and experience. It's difficult to play in this league with an inexperienced quarterback, in my opinion. And so that makes it easier. But I'm also excited about Ramon Richards. I mean, you guys can look at Ramon and see him. Look at the difference in his body now and his attitude and his swag, the way he plays the game and challenges receivers. And Burton, just came in here from junior college and from day one's just come in and been physical and likes to play the game of football. And Victor, and Mote, and so on and so forth. Randy Childs. I'm excited about watching all those players develop, and I've missed some guys. Like Keenan Brown, number 6, the wideout. At this time last year, he was lost. Completely lost, had just a very average fall, but has developed. He's changed his body. He runs 4.56. He weighed 232 pounds. He's starting to toughen up a little bit. I'm excited about watching those guys.
Mike, you didn't touch on it before, but you get 5 turnovers in the first half. I mean, how important is that going to be this season, especially since you've got a lot of young guys returning and they seem to be playing pretty aggressive? Today, you mean? Yeah, and some of those are a little spring ball related. We tried to run reverse, and Peterson went up and took the ball, or Ramon took the ball from Washington, and then J.W. threw on the pass that he threw on the scramble for the interception. That's the area when I talked to him, he needs to improve in that area. He's done that before when he scrambled, that he's thrown that ball too flat, and he has to understand that ball has to be elevated. Those guys can jump. And then the one interception he threw early, the corner rolled up and he read it wrong. But I thought we protected the ball really well. Our running backs, when the quarterbacks carried it, I thought they did a good job of protecting the ball. So turnovers are always big. It's not always easy to gauge those things sometimes in spring ball, but we certainly want to take care of the football, no question.
Anybody else?
Good. All right, thanks.